Hello everybody, hello. I'm just trying to juggle my phone here. Trying to get it to stay. Okay, that might do. I've got some notes here. Hello everybody, I hope you all had a lovely Christmas. Hello, just put this down because I'm glaring into you. Is that, oh, that's bad light now. Okay, that's a bit better. All right, hello. I hope you all had a lovely Christmas. I did. We were away the week before Christmas because Bray also had another appointment back in Brisbane. And we got home at 2 o'clock on Christmas Eve in the morning, 2 a.m. So it was nice to be home, but it was also really nice to be away beforehand. I actually switched all technology off and had an absolute wonderful break. I've been working a lot the last couple of days and will continue to until the end of December. I've got a lot of new things planned, a lot of new processes that I'm in the process of creating, things that hopefully can make life a little bit easier for you. A few little changes, but not anything massive for you guys, more so for me. Because as you know, this lovely community is growing and growing and growing, which means with growth comes sometimes a little bit of change, a little bit of rehash, and working things out. So it's pretty exciting, just that little phase, I guess, that I'm in, and reflecting even on, you know, what 2018 was, and, you know, the things that I can make better, what I learnt, and learning from mistakes and things like that. So yeah, it's a beautiful time, just this little transition from Boxing Day to New Year, so it's lovely. Anyways, I wanted today to talk about sleep. Now, I'm going to be honest, sleep is a really big topic. It's not going to be, you know, what works for me is going to work for you. It's all quite an individual thing. And also too, we need to remember with sleep, using your oils once won't do it. You've got to be consistent in using your oils. And if that's one thing that you can take away from this little mini class today, be consistent in using your oils for sleep. You need to do it every single night. You need to find a routine that actually works for you. So I want to touch on, in particular, I guess, what I do to support myself, my kids with sleep, because a lot of the sleep kind of issues that arise in this house is a very common, because I get the questions from you guys all the time. So I'm hoping that that's going to help cover a little for you what I do, that you can take little bits away and you can try it. Okay, you need to be consistent, and you need to give it at least 30 days of being consistent in supporting yourself with sleep. So as I said, if that's one thing that you can take away, take that away from this little class today. So what I want to talk about with sleep in particular, one big thing is we need to look at our routine. What is our evening routine from 5 o'clock? Because this will actually affect your sleep. It'll affect your sleep cycle. It'll affect how you sleep. Now, there are a lot of people that are in that season where they're waking up at night and they're only getting 2 or 3 hours solid sleep in one block. Then on the other hand, we've got people here that are getting, you know, a solid 8 hours sleep every single night. Or we've got people that need 12 hours sleep but can't get it. So there's a lot of different seasons that we are actually in at the moment. But what we need to try and think is those hours that we actually can get in sleep, we need to make it a good solid sleep. Now, sleep is obviously a very important part in human survival. It's, you know, it's up there with food and water, because if we aren't getting a good sleep, okay, it affects our whole body. It affects our body function. It affects our cells, because when we actually sleep, that is when our bodies are doing a lot of the remaking, are doing a lot of the work, reprogramming as such. So it's a really, really vital part, okay? Humans cannot go for great lengths of time without some form of sleep. It's impossible. Yes, some people can stay awake for 24 hours, but they're not functioning at their optimal level. Okay, their body is straining and pushing through that because we're not designed for that. So we need to take a really good look at what our actual routine is. Now, I've always been one from a kid that I'm one of these that needs 8 hours sleep. Because anything under 8 hours, even 6 hours, I struggle to get through the day. I feel my body not functioning properly. I don't have the energy. And also too, if I'm getting 6 hours sleep, that can also be a trigger for my emotions, and it can also be a trigger for my headaches. So we need to remember that our sleep patterns, our sleep routine, the amount of sleep that we get can be a trigger for something else that we've got going on. Now, if I'm really sleep deprived and I haven't got the right amount of hours, then everything is blown out of proportion with me. I can't be the best mum that I want to be. I can't create beautiful resources for you. I can't teach you people about oils. There's so many things that factor into me if I'm not getting the right amount of sleep. So when it comes to creating a routine with sleep, there is something that I've had to really implement, and it's tough. These things are really hard. It's not going to happen overnight. And sometimes it might be that, okay, I need to make a change in my evening routine to sleep better, but you're not going to be able to do it all at once. So start with one thing and do it for 30 days. Then you can introduce something else, because 30 days gets you into a new routine, a new habit, and yeah, and then it's so much easier to put something else into place. Now, when we were actually away, normally I would get a headache or a migraine, and I'm going to tell you now, it has been 12 weeks since I have had a really, really bad migraine. I went through another phase later, it was probably about when Bray got sick, just before Bray got sick, really. I went through a really terrible phase of having really bad migraines in bed, couldn't function, couldn't do anything, and it was pretty horrible. So I knew I had to make some changes right there and then, because I wasn't sleeping properly, I was stressed, I was anxious, I was overwhelmed. So much was happening in my life. Now, when I go away, that can also be a big trigger. Not sleeping properly can be a trigger for my health. I can tell you that while I was away, I had some of the best sleeps I've ever had. And I still said to Brett, how did I do it? When we traveled home on Christmas Eve, we planned to actually get home about 8 o'clock the day before Christmas Eve. And we had some car troubles. And by the time we actually got our car sorted and going, immobilizers, guys, we left about 6 o'clock Maryborough, because that's where we were, where we got going. We left at 6 o'clock. We hopped in the car at 1 o'clock to start the car. And once we actually got it going at 6 o'clock, we both looked at each other and said, okay, what are we going to do? Are we going to get as far as even Bundaberg, an hour and a half up the road? Are we going to get as far as Rocky, 4.5 hours? What are we going to do? And I said to Brett, I feel good. I feel I've had the best sleeps. I'm wide awake. I've got energy. We can play tag team and we can get home. Okay? So we did. And normally, Brett would have to do all the nighttime driving. Number one, I would be so fatigued because I didn't sleep properly. Number two, my vision would fail me at night. But this wasn't the case because I had got myself into a really, really good routine of sleeping. So one thing of creating a routine for sleep before you go away is creating like an anchor. So what I did at the start of December, because I knew that we were going to be going away, the middle part, I suppose, of December, was I grabbed my vetiver oil. Now, vetiver is like a liquid of sleep. And I have it in a dropper, and I put the dropper straight under my nose every single night. And I did this while I was away. Because I sleep good at home, when I actually put the vetiver under my nose while I was away, it was like an anchor. My body was like, oh, okay, it's bedtime. You have good sleeps. It goes back to, because we're actually smelling and it's going up here into our lymphic system, that's where our memories and triggers are coming in. So by smelling the vetiver, my lymphic brain was able to go, oh, yeah, a state of calmness, and be able to throw all these things into the mix. So that was the number one thing that I, definitely implemented into my routine. The other thing is the Copaiba soft gels have been a massive, massive game changer for me. I take one of them every single night, or 2 or 3 drops in a veggie capsule, or put a drop or 2 underneath your tongue if you don't have veggie capsules, every single night, half an hour before bed. Now, I go to bed generally 9:30 is like my cutoff, because I get up at 5:30 and I need those hours sleep. So I always do it between 8:30 and 9, Copaiba soft gel, and within half an hour I can actually feel my body starting to really relax, because that's what Copaiba does. It is so incredible for our nervous system. It's incredible at being able to calm our body, because often too, again, I've seen the questions pop up, what can you use to calm the chatter in your brain? I would get to bed and I would think of so many things within the business. I would think of, I'd concern and worry myself about someone's issue that really, I did everything that I could, but I'd still be worrying about it. My brain would be going over to-do lists. It'd be going over just so much. And I'd get to bed and I'd be wide awake still, which, as I said, affects my whole emotional health. So since taking the Copaiba soft gels, which is where also my headaches and migraines have pretty much gone, for 12 weeks, is that the Copaiba just absolutely relaxes me. So I take one every single morning for my anxiety and my stress, and obviously at night. So it's just really, really amazing at being able to do that. So I can't recommend Copaiba enough to help you with your sleep. So by doing those two, that helped me a lot while I was away. The other thing too is when we are, having problems trying to switch off or go to sleep, we need to ask ourselves our questions. Is it because our brain is the computer and has all these tabs open? Or is it because perhaps you're a little bit scared? Okay, because the underlying issue could be absolute fear. But you've got to ask yourself those few questions. It doesn't need to be deep answers. Sometimes it's the first thing that comes to your mind is the answer. But it's just asking, what is it? Now, sometimes for me, it is a little bit of fear, it is doubt, it is worry. So that's when, again, I grab my emotional oils and I will use actually Forgive. Now, Forgive also, and there's a study that shows that people that actually used Forgive on a daily basis for 6 months, their anxiety, their stress, all those nervous things that are linked was actually decreased by 80% from using Forgive. And you guys have heard me talk about the Forgive blend so much because I use it all the time. It has been an incredible oil. So the Forgive one also too, you might be going to bed and you might all of a sudden start to feel really guilty, perhaps for what you didn't do, perhaps you said something you shouldn't have, perhaps you didn't spend time with the children, whatever it is, okay, guilt. Use Forgive. So, that's a few little things. But the other thing that I want to share, and this also applies to my kids. Now, you would all know that Noni has been my worst sleeper. Noni has now been also sleeping through the night since about, once we got home from Brace, so about October, okay? And I'm like, what have I done here? And I went through a ton of trying to get the right oil mixes. I went through so much stuff. Now, there's a couple of things that I actually have done with her. Now, when your children actually wake up and they're not sleeping properly, it can take time to work it out. Because it might be, because kids can't tell you why they can't sleep. For Bray, here's his mind chatter. He can't switch off because he's constantly thinking about, maths problems, and it's just because he has traits of ASD, and a lot of ASD mums will understand. he thinks of things in a very, very logical sense. So, you know, yesterday he pulled out a sum at 6 o'clock, or no, it was about 7 o'clock, just before bed. And he's like, hey, Dad, I'm trying to do a multiplication with 4 numbers on the board. And Brett said to him, but what's the purpose of these numbers? He said, oh, I just feel like working something hard out. That's his brain. So he would have gone to bed thinking about that. So what I've actually done for him, now Bray's 9.5, he takes a copaiba soft gel every single night before bed. And he also puts frankincense on his thumb and holds it to the roof of his mouth. The other magical oil is marjoram. If you are really struggling to nod off to sleep and can't sleep, it can be for yourself, it can be for your kids, you want to be using marjoram oil. I just simply diffuse it in the bedroom. Marjoram is an oil that a lot of people will think of aches and pains, and probably one that, you know, if I said to you, have you used marjoram? Have you got it? You probably go, nope, what's that? Okay, that is your sleep oil. Marjoram is incredible. Just diffusing it. So that's what I do in particular for Bray. And he switches off. Now back to Noni, okay? Noni, as I said, you know, she's 3.5, starts kindy. We got her school bag yesterday, so she's all excited. Starts kindy next year. Has been my really bad sleeper, and she has been sleeping through now since, you know, Bray got home from hospital in October. What I've done, number 1, is we worked out she has bowel issues, okay? She has problems with bowel movements and all those kinds of things there. It is a bit of an hereditary thing, which we are totally aware of. And those things can actually keep children awake and wake them up at night. They can't tell you, if you said, hey, what's wrong? They can't actually tell you that, hey, something doesn't feel right in there. So we've now dealt with the bowel issues with her. And it's made a massive difference. The other thing with sleep is I use the New Kids blend, 2 of them, being the calming and the grounding blend, every single night on the back of the neck and on the big toe. That has just helped her now have some absolutely, you know, really big sleeps and sleeping through the night. So again, those kids blends are formulated for children. In particular, they made them for 3 years and above, but you can use them on babies. And I actually then pulled out the oils and I had a look and I've gone, what is in these, you know, grounding and the calming blend? It's the green and the purple ones, because she's like, green and purple. She's all excited. So made for kids. They, you know, associate things with colors. And they're oil mixes that I wouldn't even think to put together to help a child go to sleep. So, you know, that's a couple of other things that we've dealt with her. Number 2, we do not allow any screen time for our children after dinner. Now, I generally try to eat dinner. Summertime, it's about 7. I do like to try and eat about 6:30, but summertime it doesn't happen because it's daylight. It's sometimes the coolest part of the day, so we're generally outside getting stuff done. So no screen time for our children after dinner, because you will be absolutely surprised, and you know, Google it yourself on the studies that are done on children that actually have screen time before bed. They're the children that are sometimes still wide awake because they've just had a screen in front of their face. You know, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not here to make you make that decision. But all I'm saying is this is what we've done, and study it yourself and you'll find out. So my kids have no screen time. They simply have quiet time after dinner, because it's all about also winding your children down to have a good sleep. You can't expect your child to, let's just, you know, I'm not picking on anybody, but let's just say, for example, you've had your child in front of a screen and they've absolutely watched, you know, a drama or something really high strung, high vibe. And then you go, okay, turn it off, kids, bedtime. How can, and this is what I struggle to understand, how can your child then automatically switch off with what they've actually just seen? Okay, so that's where, you know, to me, it's absolute common sense. When you actually go to bed, you're going to bed in already a calm state. So if you're also lying in bed and you're still wide awake, your kids even are still wide awake, it might be that you are still highly, as such, strung with something that you've just done before bed. The other thing that also can play a part with children is their activity. If your kids have sat still all day, our bodies are not made to sit still. They're made to get up and they're made to move. So if your kids are sitting still all day and they haven't been active, then their bodies probably are not as tired as what they should be to be able to rest and restore. So it's looking at what the child has done in the day as well. So as I said, you know, for Noni, we've now dealt with her bowel issues. I've finally found 2 oil blends that are just incredible for her. And no screen time after dinner, which is generally after 7 o'clock, and also no more drink after dinner, because that's what was happening also is your kids get to bed and they're like, Mom, I need the toilet, Mom, I need the toilet. You need to draw a line sometimes and say, all right, kids, that's it, no more drink until an hour before bed. Sure, if they wake up and, you know, in the middle of the night and they're thirsty, let them have a little sip, but don't allow them to guzzle, you know, a ton of water, because that's when they are going to wake up again and you're going to have to get up again because they need to go to the toilet. And that is another thing that, you know, with Noni was that we would find that she was drinking all her water at tea time. We're like, nah, Noni, you need to drink it during the day because that's the important part of drinking your water. So that's another thing that we've done. But it's just implementing and looking at what is your routine before bed. Is it that your kids do need a lot more calmness? Then get your diffuser out, diffuse it. And I always say this, 5 o'clock, start diffusing, you know, in the lounge room, your balance and your lavender peace, maybe vetiver, maybe cedarwood, Roman chamomile, all those really, really calming oils, and get them diffused. Pop a couple in the bath. Okay, as well, because that's what we need. We need our bodies to be in a state of calmness, and it's going to help you as well. So just look at, with sleep, the main thing being that of your routine. Now, the other thing also that you also want to be looking at is if you are not getting your right amount of vitamins, minerals, and fish oils, your body can actually also keep you awake. When are you taking your vitamins and minerals, and are you taking them? Now, for me, I can't take a B vitamin after 3 o'clock because I stay awake. I don't not often go to sleep. Whereas that too of Brett, now Brett has another, he's, I guess, another different kettle of fish, pretty much. B vitamins help him sleep. So he takes a B vitamin before he goes to bed. He functions on 6 hours sleep. Anything more than that, and he's a write-off. So that's how his body is made up. But he also has, and men have this as well, is that he has some sort of, he's named it and I can't remember it, but like a thyroid type thing. Because if you also have a thyroid issue, that will also keep you awake. If your hormones and not balanced correctly, it's going to keep you awake. So there is so much more to the story of having a good sleep, of having a good sleep, of being able to shut off. We need to ask ourselves a few more questions. And yes,
it's hot.
Is it? Okay, we'll turn the fan on. It's hot. So the other thing that you also want to be asking yourself is, what stage or season are you going through in your life? Is it something to do with hormones? And as you know, I said at the start, it's now been over 12 weeks, which is absolutely amazing, since I've had any really, really bad headaches, migraines, felt really fatigued, no energy, not sleeping properly. Not only was it because I now take the Copaiba twice daily, but I also have changed I guess you would call it like a hormone mix. I put it on every single morning and night, and I actually have it made up in a little glass jar. I make up a full bottle of fractionated coconut oil. Now, I don't know if I can remember it all completely because I got it written down because I'd forget, but I have about 20 drops of ylang ylang in it. I have lavender peace in there. I have clary sage. I have wild orange. And there's another one I can't remember. And then I put clary calm on top. And that has made not only a massive difference in my cycle, but also that is one other thing that I've changed, which has definitely helped me sleep. because, you know, again, hormones can totally keep you awake. And if that's the case, you want to be diffusing clary sage in particular at nighttime. Because clary sage and pop it with some balance is really, really amazing at being able to help you sleep. But, you know, as I said, there is just so much to sleep. But then just a couple of things that I want you to, I guess, take away and to think about is, what is your routine? How are you feeling in the day? What are you doing in the day? And just check in with yourself, because that is going to affect your sleep. Now, I do have a document here already. Now, what it has is lots of different oils that you can use for sleep. And then I've got lots and lots of sleep blends that I get a lot of questions about. So you've got one here. There's a hormonal one in here for sleep. There's a snoring blend. Okay, one for shutting off the brain, major sleep support, sleep deprivation. Okay, all in a document. Now, I've actually already got this in the members group under units, in mini classes down the bottom, and it's under sleep oils and blends. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rehash it for you and try and put it into one sheet, because I find a lot of people have said that they absolutely love it when I have one image, and I will try and share that one image for you over the weekend, and then you can save that as a bit of a reference guide for you to help with sleep. But as I said, it is a pretty big topic, but and I'll just touch on quickly because it was a question in relation to snoring. Now, one of the oils obviously for snoring you want to be using is Easy Air, but thyme. Now, thyme's a hot oil, so please remember to dilute thyme because it's a hot oil. And frankincense. What you want to do is put it across the sinuses and also on the big toe, okay, in particular. Now, a lot of men are known to be the snorers. They won't voluntarily pick up an oil bottle or let you put an oil bottle on. So what you're going to do is you're going to sneak in when they're asleep, okay, and pop it on. But that snoring blend is actually in the resource here. So I'll do that up better for you. But in the meantime, go to units, mini classes, down the bottom, sleep oils and blends, and you'll find it, but I'll post it up in one big sheet. I'll actually bump this document to the top of this group for you guys, but it does have a lot of options in relation to sleep oils. But as I said, you need to look at what your routine is, what you're doing in the day. You need to look at, you know, I guess your thoughts, feelings, and emotions there as well. And you need to remember you must be consistent. Using the oil once will not do the trick. I can't stress it enough. You need to apply your sleep oil for at least 30 days. Because sometimes if you haven't been sleeping properly for a very long time, you know, and it could be 6 months, it could be 12 months, it could be 2 years since you've had a really, really good sleep in the hours that you can actually sleep, depending on what season you're in at the moment. You can't expect all of a sudden your body to, you know, have a good sleep just like that when it's been years since your body has actually had a good sleep. So you've got to give yourself that 30 days to rehash and retune your body as such. So hopefully that helps with sleep. But it is, you know, over this break when a lot of you are home, it is a really good time to actually think about what is it with sleep that is probably stopping me from having the good restful sleep. And as I said, sleep is so important for our bodies. Google it and you'll find how important it is for our health in making sure that we have a good sleep. It is a foundation for us. So hopefully that helps. And next week, guys, we are looking at weight loss. Pretty excited to share a lot of that with you. All right, guys, take care. Bye.